First contact. The night sky over the Atacama Desert in Chile was typically clear, offering an unobstructed view of the cosmos. Dr. Samara Potel stood in the control room of the large millimeter telescope, her eyes fixed on the monitors displaying real-time data from the array. As the lead astronomer on the night shift, she was responsible for overseeing the ongoing survey of distant galaxies. It was just past 3 a.m. local time when an alarm blared through the control room. Samara's colleagues jolted awake, their eyes wide with confusion and concern. "What's going on?" Dr. Chen, her assistant, asked groggily. Samara's fingers flew over the keyboard as she pulled up the source of the alarm. Her breath caught in her throat as she processed what she was seeing. It's not possible," she muttered. On the screen, a massive object was approaching the solar system at an impossible speed. It was decelerating rapidly, defying the laws of physics as humanity understood them. "Get me the director," Samara ordered, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. "And contact NASA and the ESA. They need to confirm this immediately." Within hours, observatories and space agencies around the world were abuzz with activity. The object, or rather objects, had been confirmed by multiple sources. A fleet of massive ships was entering the solar system, and they were undeniably artificial. As dawn broke over different parts of the globe, government leaders were awakened with the news. Emergency meetings were called, and military forces were quietly put on high alert. The world held its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. In Washington, D.C., President Elena Reyes sat in the Situation Room, surrounded by her top advisors and military officials. The atmosphere was tense, filled with a mixture of fear and anticipation. "What do we know?" Reyes asked, her voice cutting through the murmur of conversations. General Marcus Blackwood, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, cleared his throat. "Madam President, the alien fleet consists of approximately 50 vessels of varying sizes. The largest is estimated to be over 20 kilometers in length. They've taken up positions just beyond the orbit of Mars and have remained stationary for the past 6 hours. Have they made any attempts to communicate?" the president inquired. Dr. Ava Wong, the newly appointed director of NASA, shook her head. "Not yet, Madam President. We've been broadcasting welcome messages on all frequencies, but there's been no response." President Reyes leaned back in her chair, her brow furrowed in concentration. "What are our options?" The room erupted into a cacophony of suggestions and arguments. Some advocated for a show of military strength, while others pushed for continued attempts at peaceful communication. The debate raged on until a young aide burst into the room, his face pale. "Madam President," he gasped, "they're broadcasting a message. It's being transmitted globally on all frequencies." The room fell silent as the main screen flickered to life. The image that appeared was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. A being that looked vaguely humanoid, but clearly alien, stood before them. Its skin was a deep purple, almost metallic in appearance. Multiple eyes blinked in unison, and when it spoke, its voice resonated with an otherworldly timbre. "People of Earth," the alien began, "I am High Commander Zexatra of the Galactic Hegemony. Your world has been identified as a potential threat to the stability of our empire. You will surrender your autonomy and submit to our rule, or face annihilation. You have 72 hours to comply." The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving the room in stunned silence. President Reyes was the first to recover. "Get me the UN Secretary-General," she ordered, "and start reaching out to other world leaders. We need a united front, now more than ever." As news of the alien ultimatum spread, panic gripped the globe. Streets in major cities emptied as people rushed home to be with their families. Others flocked to churches, mosques, and temples, seeking solace in faith. Supermarket shelves were stripped bare within hours as people stockpiled supplies. In the midst of the chaos, a few voices called for calm and unity. Dr. Samara Patel, now thrust into the global spotlight, gave an impassioned interview on CNN. "This is undoubtedly the greatest challenge humanity has ever faced," she said, her eyes blazing with determination. "But we must not give in to fear. Throughout our history, we have overcome insurmountable odds through innovation, cooperation, and sheer force of will. This is no different. We must stand together, not as separate nations, but as one species fighting for our right to exist." Her words resonated with millions, sparking a movement of global solidarity. Social media exploded with the hashtag #OneHumanity as people from all corners of the world shared messages of hope and defiance. In orbit, astronauts aboard the International Space Station found themselves in a unique position. Commander Sarah Chen, an American of Chinese descent, broadcast a powerful message to Earth. "From up here, you can't see borders," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "All we see is one beautiful, fragile planet, our home. Whatever differences we thought we had seem insignificant now. We're all in this together, and together, we will find a way to survive and thrive." As the 72-hour deadline approached, world leaders convened an emergency session of the United Nations. The General Assembly Hall was packed, with even long-standing enemies setting aside their differences in the face of this existential threat. UN Secretary-General Kwame Osei took the podium, his usually calm demeanor replaced by fierce determination. "Distinguished delegates, we stand at a crossroads in human history. The choice before us is clear. Submit to tyranny or fight for our freedom. I say we fight." The hall erupted in applause and cheers. For the first time in history, the nations of Earth voted unanimously on a resolution. They would not surrender to the galactic hegemony. But even as humanity presented a united front, the question remained: how could they hope to stand against such an overwhelmingly superior force? The answer came from an unexpected source. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a brilliant but eccentric physicist from Japan, had been working on a revolutionary propulsion system. In the wake of the alien arrival, she had a breakthrough. "We can't match their technology," she explained to a hastily assembled team of international scientists, "but we can use it against them. Their faster-than-light drives create minute distortions in spacetime. If we can amplify those distortions, we might be able to disrupt their systems." It was a long shot, but it was the best hope humanity had. As the deadline loomed, scientists and engineers around the world worked around the clock to bring Dr. Tanaka's theory to life. With just hours to spare, a prototype was ready. But deploying it would require a dangerous space mission. Volunteers were sought from the world's astronaut corps, knowing it could be a one-way trip. As the 72-hour mark approached, humanity held its breath. They had made their choice. Now they would face the consequences together. The fate of Earth hung in the balance, with the actions of a brave few about to determine the future of the entire species. The stage was set for a confrontation that would echo through the ages. Humanity's stand against the galactic hegemony had begun. The ultimatum. As the 72-hour deadline drew to a close, Earth's united leadership prepared to deliver their response to the galactic hegemony. The chosen location was a neutral site in international waters, a massive aircraft carrier in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. World leaders, scientists, and military personnel from across the globe gathered on its deck, presenting a united front against the alien threat. President Elena Reyes stood at the forefront, flanked by other prominent world leaders. Behind them, a hastily constructed communications array pointed skyward, ready to broadcast their message to the alien fleet. "People of Earth," President Reyes began, her voice steady and resolute as it was transmitted globally and into space, and to High Commanders etc. of the galactic hegemony. "We have heard your ultimatum, and we have made our decision." She paused, her eyes scanning the faces of those around her before looking directly into the camera. "We, the United Nations and peoples of Earth, respectfully decline your offer of surrender. We choose to remain free." A murmur rippled through the crowd, a mixture of fear and pride. Reyes continued, "We understand the vast technological gap between our civilizations. We recognize the immense power you wield. However, We cannot and will not submit to tyranny, no matter its source. As she spoke, activity bustled behind the scenes. Dr. Yuki Tanaka and her team made final adjustments to their prototype device, while a select group of astronauts prepared for their potentially suicidal mission. Humanity has faced countless challenges throughout our history, Reyes went on. We have overcome ice ages, plagues, and our own destructive tendencies. Each time, we have emerged stronger, more united, and more determined. This situation is no different. She gestured to the diverse group of leaders behind her. Look at us. Just days ago, many of us were adversaries. Now we stand as one. This is the true strength of humanity, our ability to unite in the face of adversity, to find common ground when it matters most. As Reyes spoke, the alien fleet began to move. Massive ships descended from their holding pattern, entering Earth's atmosphere. The sight of these behemoths floating above major cities sent shockwaves of fear across the globe. Despite the terrifying display, Reyes remained steadfast. We extend an invitation to you, High Commanders, etc. Come, speak with us face to face. Let us show you who we are, what we can offer to the galaxy. We believe there is room for cooperation, for mutual benefit, without the need for subjugation. Suddenly, the communications array crackled to life. The imposing figure of High Commanders, etc. appeared on screens worldwide. Your defiance is noted, humans. The alien leader's multi-toned voice resonated. It is also futile. However, your invitation intrigues me. I will grant you one final audience before we commence our takeover. The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving an eerie silence in its wake. Well, Reyes said, turning to her fellow leaders, it seems we have a meeting to prepare for. In the hours that followed, Earth's finest minds worked tirelessly to prepare for the encounter. Linguists fine-tuned translation algorithms, diplomats crafted careful statements, and scientists gathered evidence of humanity's potential. Meanwhile, in a secret facility beneath the waves, Dr. Tanaka's team loaded their experimental device onto a specially modified submarine. The plan was audacious. While the world's leaders distracted the alien commander with diplomacy, this covert team would attempt to deploy the disruptive technology. As dawn broke the next day, a smaller alien craft descended from the main fleet. It landed on the aircraft carrier with impossible grace, barely disturbing the water around it. A hush fell over the assembled crowd as a hatch opened, revealing High Commanders, etc. in all their alien glory. Standing nearly 3 meters tall, Zexatra's purple, metallic skin gleamed in the morning sun. Multiple eyes blinked independently, taking in every detail of the scene. When they spoke, their voice seemed to bypass ears entirely, resonating directly in the minds of those present. You have our attention, humans, Zexatra said. Speak quickly, for our patience wears thin. President Reyes stepped forward, her chin held high. High Commander, we thank you for this opportunity. We wish to demonstrate that humanity has value, that we can be assets rather than subjects to your empire. She gestured to a group of scientists who began presenting Earth's achievements. They showcased advancements in medicine, sustainable energy, and space exploration. Artists displayed works that captured the depth of human emotion and creativity. Even Earth's biodiversity was highlighted, emphasizing the unique nature of the planet. As the presentations continued, Zexatra remained impassive, their multiple eyes blinking in an unsettling rhythm. Beneath the waves, the submarine carrying Dr. Tanaka's device silently approached the alien mothership. The brave crew knew their chances of survival were slim, but they pressed on, driven by duty and the hope of saving their species. Back on the carrier, Reyes made her final appeal. High Commander, surely you can see the potential in cooperation. We may be young as a spacefaring species, but we have much to offer. Our diversity, our adaptability, our relentless drive to improve. These are strengths that could benefit your empire far more than simple subjugation. For a long moment, Zexatra was silent. Then, to everyone's surprise, They laughed. The sound was like crystals shattering, beautiful and terrifying at once. "You misunderstand, humans," Zexatra said, amusement evident in their tone. "We do not seek to add you to our empire. We seek to eliminate you as a potential threat." Gasps and murmurs rippled through the crowd. Reyes struggled to maintain her composure. "Threat? But we've barely begun to explore beyond our own solar system. How could we possibly threaten you?" Zexatra's eyes narrowed. "It is not what you are, but what you could become. We have seen it before, young species with your particular blend of intelligence, adaptability, and aggression. Left unchecked, you expand rapidly, consuming resources and challenging the established order. It is simpler to remove the threat before it fully manifests." The alien commander's words hung in the air, their chilling implications sinking in. Humanity wasn't facing subjugation, they were facing extinction. As this revelation struck, alarms blared from the alien ship. Zexatra's posture changed instantly, transitioning from amused condescension to battle readiness. "What have you done?" they demanded, their mental voice sharp with anger. At that moment, the submarine crew had successfully deployed Dr. Tanaka's device. The experimental technology activated, sending waves of distortion through space-time. The effect on the alien ships was immediate and dramatic. Massive vessels that had been hovering effortlessly began to list and drift. Some collided with each other, while others struggled to maintain their position in the atmosphere. On the carrier, Zexatra stumbled, clearly disoriented by whatever was affecting their technology. Reyes seized the moment. "We've done what we must to survive, Commander. You've left us no choice but to fight back." Zexatra snarled, a sound that sent chills down the spines of all who heard it. "You primitive, foolish creatures, you have no idea what you're dealing with. This changes nothing. It only ensures that your extinction will be more painful." With that, the alien leader retreated to their ship. As it took off, its movements were noticeably less graceful than before. The assembled leaders watched as the alien fleet struggled against the effects of Dr. Tanaka's device. Some ships managed to retreat to higher orbits, while others made emergency landings in remote areas across the globe. "What now?" someone asked in the stunned silence that followed. Reyes squared her shoulders, her eyes blazing with determination. "Now we fight. We fought ourselves some time and shown that we're not defenseless, but this is far from over." She turned to address the group. "We need to capitalize on this advantage. Retrieve that alien technology, reverse engineer it if we can, and prepare for their retaliation, because it will come, and it will be fierce." As the gravity of the situation sank in, a sense of grim determination settled over the assembly. The lines had been drawn, the first shots fired in a conflict that would determine the very survival of the human species. Across the globe, people watched in awe and terror as alien ships fell from the sky. The sight was both terrifying and oddly inspiring, proof that humanity could indeed fight back against this overwhelming force. The battle for Earth had begun, and every human on the planet knew that nothing would ever be the same again. The coming days would test humanity as never before, pushing the species to its very limits. But in this moment of crisis, there was also opportunity, a chance for humanity to prove its worth, not just to the galactic hegemony, but to itself. As world leaders dispersed to oversee their nation's preparations, Reyes remained on the deck of the carrier, her eyes fixed on the chaotic sky above. The fate of humanity now rested on what they did next. The clock was ticking, and Earth's greatest challenge was just beginning. Humanity's response. In the days following the confrontation with High Commander Zexatra, Earth was a planet transformed. The initial shock and panic gave way to a grim determination that united humanity like never before. Former enemies became allies, pooling resources and knowledge in a desperate bid for survival. At the heart of this global effort was the newly formed Earth Defense Coalition, EDC, a multinational organization tasked with coordinating humanity's response to the alien threat. Its headquarters, hastily established in the sprawling underground facilities beneath the Swiss Alps, buzzed with activity around the clock. Dr. Samira Patel, the astronomer who had first detected the alien fleet, now found herself at the forefront of Earth's scientific efforts. She stood in the EDC's main control room, surrounded by holographic displays showing the positions of the remaining alien ships in Earth's orbit. The good news is that Dr. Tanaka's device continues to disrupt their systems. Samura explained to the assembled world leaders, her voice tired but determined. The bad news is that they're adapting. We estimate we have a week, maybe two, before they neutralize its effects entirely. President Reyes, who had taken on the role of EDC's political leader, nodded grimly. Then we need to make every second count. What's the status on the recovered alien technology? Dr. Yuki Tanaka stepped forward, her usually neat appearance disheveled from days of non-stop work. We've made some progress, Madam President. The alien materials are unlike anything we've ever seen, but we're beginning to understand their basic principles. Their power source, in particular, is fascinating. It seems to draw energy directly from the quantum vacuum. Can we replicate it? General Marcus Blackwood, now the EDC's military commander, asked brusquely. Tanaka shook her head. Not yet, but we're learning. Every hour brings new insights. As the briefing continued, reports flooded in from around the globe. In the Gobi Desert, Chinese and Mongolian forces had surrounded a crashed alien ship, engaging in a tense standoff with its surviving crew. In Brazil, scientists were studying the impact of alien technology on the Amazon rainforest, where one of the largest ships had made an emergency landing. But it was the news from Antarctica that caught everyone's attention. A joint Russian-American expedition had discovered something buried deep beneath the ice, something that predated the arrival of the galactic hegemony. Dr. Anastasia Volkova, the lead archaeologist on the expedition, appeared on the main screen, her face flushed with excitement despite the bitter cold surrounding her. We believe we found evidence of a previous alien visitation, possibly millions of years ago. The artifacts we're uncovering, they're incredible, and there are signs of a written language. The room erupted in excited chatter. President Reyes raised her hand for silence. Dr. Volkova, are you saying there might be ancient alien technology down there? Technology that predates the hegemony? It's possible, Madam President, Volkova replied. We need more time to study it, but yes, I believe so. A spark of hope ignited in the room. If they could uncover advanced technology not controlled by the hegemony, it could change the entire dynamic of the conflict. Divert whatever resources they need, Reyes ordered. This could be the break we've been looking for. As the Antarctic expedition ramped up its efforts, other initiatives were launching around the world. In orbit, the crews of the International Space Station and China's Tiangong Station worked tirelessly to adapt their facilities into makeshift defense platforms. On the ground, production lines that had once manufactured cars and consumer electronics were retooled to produce components for hybrid human-alien technology. But it wasn't just in labs and factories that humanity's ingenuity shone. In Kenya, Maasai warriors, renowned for their ability to live in harmony with dangerous wildlife, were training special forces in techniques to track and hunt the alien beings. In Silicon Valley, tech giants had set aside their rivalries, creating a global quantum-encrypted communication network that the aliens couldn't penetrate. Even children were contributing to the war effort. A global initiative called Kids for Earth saw millions of young people using online platforms to sort through vast amounts of data, spotting patterns that could provide insights into alien behavior and technology. 2 weeks after the initial confrontation, humanity had its first major breakthrough. In a secret facility in Japan, Dr. Tanaka and her team successfully activated a salvaged piece of alien technology. The device, which they dubbed the gravity manipulator, allowed for localized control of gravitational fields. The applications are endless, Tanaka explained in a global broadcast, her eyes shining with excitement. We can use it for defense, nullifying the aliens' advantage in space. But more than that, it revolutionizes our ability to access space. We can launch satellites without rockets, build structures in orbit with ease. It's a game changer. The news sent a wave of hope around the world. For the first time since the alien arrival, people dared to believe that they might not just survive, but thrive. But the galactic hegemony was far from defeated. As humanity celebrated its breakthrough, the alien fleet was regrouping. High Commander Zexatra, humiliated by the initial setback, was preparing a counterattack that would remind the upstart humans of their place in the cosmic hierarchy. In the EDC headquarters, alarms blared as sensors detected a massive energy buildup in the alien fleet. General Blackwood rushed to the control room, his face grim. "They're powering up their weapons," he announced. "All signs point to a full-scale assault within the next 48 hours. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. They had made remarkable progress, but was it enough to withstand the full might of the hegemony? President Reyes stood, her posture straight and determined. "We knew this moment would come. It's time to put our plans into action. General, initiate Operation Slingshot." Operation Slingshot was humanity's boldest gambit, a plan to use the newly understood gravity manipulation technology to launch a swarm of small, agile craft directly at the alien fleet. These craft, piloted by an international team of the world's best pilots, would be tasked with infiltrating the alien ships and deploying enhanced versions of Dr. Tanaka's disruptive device. As preparations for the counterattack ramped up, Dr. Patel made another crucial discovery. Analyzing data from the initial alien communication, she found hidden frequencies that the hegemony used for faster-than-light communication. "If we can tap into this," she explained breathlessly, "we might be able to eavesdrop on their plans, maybe even send false information." It was a race against time. As engineers and pilots prepared for Operation Slingshot, Patel and her team worked frantically to crack the alien communication protocols. 46 hours later, with the alien attack imminent, humanity was as ready as it could be. Operation Slingshot was primed for launch, the gravity manipulators humming with power. Every operational satellite and ground-based telescope was trained on the alien fleet, feeding data to EDC headquarters. In Antarctica, Dr. Volkova's team had made a stunning discovery, an alien AI, dormant for millions of years. They were in the process of reactivating it, hoping it could provide crucial intelligence about the hegemony's weaknesses. As the tension reached its peak, President Reyes addressed the world one final time before the battle. "People of Earth," she began, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "The hour of our greatest test is upon us. The road ahead will be difficult, and victory is far from certain. But I want you to remember this. Every great achievement in human history started as an impossible dream. The very fact that we stand here today, united as one species, ready to face a threat from beyond the stars, is testament to our incredible capacity for growth and adaptation." She paused, looking directly into the camera. "Win or lose, what we do today will echo through the ages. We fight not just for our survival, but for our right to forge our own destiny among the stars. Remember, Earth is our home, and we will defend it." As Reyes finished speaking, the alien fleet began to move. Operation Slingshot launched, sending hundreds of gravity-propelled craft hurtling towards the hegemony's ships. On the ground, millions huddled in shelters, while others manned defense stations or continued working feverishly on projects that could turn the tide. The greatest battle in human history was about to begin. The fate of Earth and humanity's future in the cosmos hung in the balance. As the first shots were fired, one thing was clear: win or lose, the universe would never be the same again. The confrontation. The sky erupted into a dazzling display of light and energy as Operation Slingshot commenced. Hundreds of Earth's gravity-propelled craft, each no larger than a fighter jet, streaked towards the looming alien fleet. The pilots, a diverse group representing every continent, felt the immense weight of their responsibility as they maneuvered through the barrage of alien defenses. Captain Zahra Ahmed, a former Egyptian Air Force pilot, led the first wave. Her voice crackled over the secure comm channel. "Remember your training. Use the gravity manipulators to evade their fire. Aim for the weak points we identified. And whatever happens, don't let them take you alive." The alien ships, caught off guard by the unconventional attack, scrambled to respond. Beams of energy crisscrossed the sky, turning unfortunate human craft into expanding balls of superheated plasma. But for every craft lost, 2 more slipped through the defensive net, their pilots expertly using the gravity manipulators to perform maneuvers that defied conventional physics. On the ground, in the EDC headquarters, Dr. Samira Patel and her team worked feverishly to crack the alien communication frequencies. Sweat beaded on her brow as she input algorithm after algorithm, each failure bringing them closer to catastrophe. Come on," she muttered, her fingers flying across the holographic interface. Suddenly, the system pinged. Alien chatter filled the room, a cacophony of unfamiliar sounds and tones. "We're in," Samara shouted, drawing the attention of everyone in the command center. "Initiating translation protocols now." As the battle raged in orbit, the fruits of humanity's frantic preparations began to show. Hybrid human-alien defense systems activated around major cities, creating shimmering energy shields that deflected the hegemony's initial bombardment. In low Earth orbit, the hastily retrofitted space stations unleashed swarms of autonomous drones, harassing the alien fleet's supply lines. But the galactic hegemony was far from defeated. High Commanders etc., watching the battle unfold from the bridge of their flagship, snarled in frustration. "Impossible," they hissed, multiple eyes blinking in agitation. "These primitives should not be able to resist us like this." Turning to their subordinates, Zexatra barked an order. "Prepare the void cutter. If we can't subjugate this world, we'll cleave it in 2. Back on Earth, the translation of the alien communications brought both hope and terror. "They're preparing some kind of superweapon," Samara reported, her voice tense. "Something called a void cutter. From what I can gather, it has the potential to split the planet apart." General Blackwood's face paled. "How long do we have?" "They're charging it now. Maybe an hour, tops." President Reyes, who had refused to leave the command center despite the danger, stood up. "Then we have no choice. We need to take out their flagship before they can fire that weapon. Contact Captain Ahmed. Tell her she's been redirected." In space, Zara received the new orders with a mix of determination and fear. "Copy that, Command. Redirecting to the flagship now." She signaled to her squadron, and a dozen craft broke off from the main assault, streaking towards the heart of the alien fleet. As they approached, the true scale of the alien flagship became apparent. It dwarfed even the largest human constructions, a city-sized vessel bristling with weapons and surrounded by a swarm of smaller craft. "This is it," Team Zara said, her voice steady despite the odds. "Remember why we're here. For Earth, for humanity, for our future." With that, they dove into the fray. The battle that ensued was unlike anything in human history. Earth craft, empowered by salvaged alien tech, danced between energy beams and projectiles that could vaporize mountains. They used the gravity manipulators to pull debris into the path of incoming fire, to slingshot around the curvature of larger ships, to perform maneuvers that would have turned a normal human body to paste. But the aliens were not easily defeated. For every small victory the humans achieved, the hegemony responded with overwhelming force. Zara watched in horror as half her squadron was wiped out in a single barrage. As the space battle reached its fever pitch, events on the ground took an unexpected turn. In Antarctica, Dr. Volkova and her team finally managed to reactivate the ancient alien AI they had discovered. The AI, calling itself Nexus, took in the situation with inhuman speed. "Your species fights admirably," it said, its voice a melodious hum that seemed to bypass ears entirely. "But you cannot win through force alone. The hegemony's resources are vast beyond your comprehension." "Then what can we do?" Volkova asked, desperation clear in her voice. Nexus was silent for a moment, processing. There is a way. The hegemony's strength is also its weakness. Their ships, their weapons, even their bodies, all are connected through a vast quantum network. If one could introduce a cascading error into this network. Understanding dawned on Volkova's face. A virus. The quantum virus. Precisely, Nexus confirmed. I can provide the base code, but it will need to be adapted to the current hegemony systems. Volkova immediately contacted EDC headquarters, relaying the plan. Within minutes, every available programmer and quantum physicist on the planet was working on adapting Nexus's code. In orbit, Zara and her remaining pilots had reached the flagship. They weaved through its defenses, deploying their disruptive devices at key points. Alarms blared throughout the massive ship as systems began to fail. On the bridge, High Commander Zexatra raged. Impossible. These humans are nothing but animals. They cannot defeat us. But defeat was looking increasingly likely. As more and more systems failed, the Void Cutter's charge began to destabilize. Energy asked across the flagship's hull, threatening to tear it apart. Just then, Samura's voice came through on all channels. The virus is ready. We're broadcasting it now on the hegemony's own frequencies. A wave of invisible energy washed over the battlefield. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then, one by one, alien ships began to drift. Weapons powered down. Communication channels filled with gibberish. On the flagship's bridge, Zexatra watched in horror as their control interfaces went dark. No, they whispered. This cannot be. Zara, seeing her opportunity, led her remaining pilots on a final attack run. They targeted the flagship's main power core, their weapons supercharged by the energy bleeding off the destabilizing Void Cutter. The resulting explosion was visible from the surface of the Earth, a new star briefly outshining the sun. The flagship, pride of the galactic hegemony, broke apart in a spectacular display of light and debris. As the blast faded, an eerie silence fell over the battlefield. The remaining alien ships, their systems compromised by the virus, hung motionless in orbit. Earth's defenders, what remained of them, cautiously regrouped. In the EDC headquarters, the tension was palpable as they waited for any sign of continued resistance. Minutes ticked by, feeling like hours. Finally, a transmission came through. It was from one of the alien ship's secondary commanders. Humans, the alien said, its voice a mixture of awe and fear. We surrender. The High Commander is dead. Our systems are compromised. We request terms. The room erupted in cheers. Tears of joy and disbelief streamed down faces. Strangers hugged each other, overwhelmed by the emotion of the moment. President Reyes, her composure cracking for the first time, allowed herself a smile. We've done it, she said softly. We've actually done it. As the news spread across the globe, celebrations broke out in every city, town, and village. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged victorious. They had not just survived, they had proven themselves to be a force to be reckoned with on the galactic stage. But even as the celebrations raged, the leaders of the EDC knew that this was just the beginning. They had won the battle, but the war for humanity's place in the cosmos was far from over. The galactic hegemony was vast, and news of their defeat would eventually reach their homeworld. Earth had to prepare. They had alien technology to study, a fledgling space fleet to build, and a united planetary defense to maintain. The road ahead would be challenging, but for the first time, humanity faced the future not with fear, but with hope and determination. As the sun set on this historic day, people around the world looked up at the sky with new eyes. The stars were no longer distant, unreachable points of light. They were destinations, full of dangers and wonders alike, and humanity was ready to take its first real steps into that vast cosmic ocean. A new era. In the months following humanity's unexpected victory over the galactic hegemony, Earth underwent a transformation unlike any in its history. The immediate aftermath was a flurry of activity as governments and the ETC worked to secure the alien technology now in their possession and to establish communication with the surrendered hegemony forces. Dr. Samara Patel found herself at the center of these efforts, working tirelessly to bridge the gap between human and alien communication. "It's fascinating," she explained during a global broadcast, her eyes alight with excitement despite her evident exhaustion. "Their language is based on quantum entanglement principles. In a way, they don't just communicate, they share consciousness." This breakthrough led to the establishment of the first human-alien diplomatic relations. The surrendered hegemony forces, cut off from their empire and faced with humanity's unexpected capabilities, chose cooperation over continued conflict. Meanwhile, in Antarctica, Dr. Anastasia Volkova and her team worked closely with Nexus, the ancient AI, to unlock the secrets of long-lost alien civilizations. "What we're learning is rewriting our understanding of the universe," Volkova said during a press conference. "The hegemony isn't the first galactic power, and they won't be the last. The cosmos is far more complex and populated than we ever imagined." As alien technology was gradually integrated into Earth's infrastructure, society began to change rapidly. Dr. Yuki Tanaka led the charge in adapting gravity manipulation technology for everyday use. Within a year, the first civilian gravity cars were on the market, revolutionizing transportation. Skyscrapers grew taller, unbound by traditional structural limitations. The first lunar city, New Armstrong, was established, its dome held aloft by a permanent gravity field. But these advancements came with challenges. Captain Zahra Ahmed, now hailed as a war hero, found herself advocating for the rights of veterans struggling to adapt to the new world they had helped create. "We sacrificed everything to save Earth," she said in an impassioned speech to the United Nations. "We can't leave anyone behind as we move forward." Her words sparked a global initiative to ensure that the benefits of alien technology were distributed equitably. The Cosmic Opportunity Fund was established, providing education and resources to help people around the world adapt to the rapidly changing job market. Education itself underwent a revolution. With access to alien knowledge databases, curricula were overhauled to include xenobiology, advanced physics, and interstellar diplomacy. Children who once dreamed of being astronauts now aspired to be xenolinguists or quantum engineers. As Earth's technology advanced, so did its reach into space. The gravity manipulators made traditional rockets obsolete. Within 5 years of the hegemony's defeat, humanity had established outposts on Mars, Venus, and several of Jupiter's moons. The asteroid belt became a hive of activity as mining operations supplied the raw materials for Earth's expanding cosmic infrastructure. But it wasn't just outward that humanity expanded. The oceans, long unexplored, became a new frontier. Underwater cities, protected by energy shields and supplied with oxygen through matter conversion technology, began to appear in the deepest parts of the sea. Marine biologists worked alongside alien biologists to uncover secrets of Earth's oceans that had eluded humanity for centuries. 10 years after the invasion, Earth was nearly unrecognizable. Megastructures orbited the planet, serving as space elevators and research stations. The moon, now home to millions, glowed with the lights of its cities. Mars sported the beginnings of a breathable atmosphere, the result of an ambitious terraforming project. Yet, as humanity reached for the stars, they didn't forget the lessons of unity learned during the invasion. The EDC evolved into the Earth Diplomatic Corps, focusing on maintaining peace and fostering cooperation both on Earth and with the alien species they now encountered regularly. President Elena Reyes, now in her final term, stood before the United Nations to address the 15-year anniversary of the hegemony's defeat. "We have achieved wonders beyond our wildest dreams," she said, her hair now gray but her eyes as sharp as ever. "But our greatest achievement isn't the technology we've gained or the worlds we've settled. It's the unity we've maintained. We faced extinction and emerged not just victorious, but better, more compassionate, more curious, more determined to understand rather than conquer. But even as humanity celebrated its progress, new challenges loomed on the horizon. Reports from deep space probes and intel from friendly alien species suggested that the galactic hegemony, while weakened by the loss of its expeditionary fleet, was far from defeated. Rumors spread of a massive retaliatory force being assembled, one that dwarfed the fleet Earth had faced 15 years ago. In response, humanity accelerated its preparations. The shipyards of Mars worked around the clock, producing vessels that combined the best of human ingenuity with advanced alien technology. These ships, faster and more powerful than anything the hegemony had encountered, formed the core of Earth's new defense fleet. Dr. Patel, now the head of Earth's Xenocommunication Department, worked with allied alien species to establish an early warning network that spanned several star systems. "We won't be caught off guard again," she promised during a press briefing. "This time, we'll see them coming." Meanwhile, Dr. Tanaka focused on pushing the boundaries of weapons technology. The gravity manipulators were just the beginning, she explained to a group of wide-eyed students at the newly established Cosmic Technology Institute. "We're developing systems that can alter the fabric of space-time itself. The next time the hegemony comes, they'll find an Earth that can stand toe-to-toe with any force in the galaxy." But it wasn't just in technology that Earth prepared. The lessons of the first invasion had been well learned. Diplomatic efforts, spearheaded by the Earth Diplomatic Corps, reached out to other species and civilizations that had suffered under the hegemony's rule. Alliances were formed, intelligence shared, and a network of mutual defense pacts established that spanned dozens of star systems. Captain Almid, now Admiral Almid, and the commander of Earth's defense fleet, oversaw war games that incorporated ships and tactics from a dozen different species. "Unity was our strength against the first invasion," she told her mixed crew of humans and aliens. "It will be our strength again." As the 20-year mark approached, the warning that humanity had been both expecting and dreading finally came. Long-range sensors detected a massive fleet approaching from the direction of the galactic core. The hegemony was coming, and this time, they were coming in force. But Earth was ready. As the alert went out, there was no panic, no chaos. Instead, a sense of grim determination settled over the planet and its colonies. Defense systems powered up, fleets moved into position, and evacuation protocols were calmly implemented for non-essential personnel. In a secure bunker deep beneath the Himalayas, the leaders of Earth and its allies convened. The room was a mix of humans and aliens, some present in person, others attending via hologram. Despite the diversity of species present, there was a palpable sense of unity. "They think they're coming to punish us," President Reyes said, addressing the assembly, "to put us in our place. But they don't understand what they're facing. We're not the same species they encountered 20 years ago. We've grown, we've learned. We've united not just among ourselves, but with friends across the stars." She paused, looking each attendee in the eye. "We beat them once when we were alone and unprepared. Imagine what we'll do now." A chorus of agreement filled the room. Plans were finalized, strategies confirmed. As the meeting adjourned, Dr. Patel approached President Reyes. "Madam President," she said, her voice low, "there's something you should know. We've been analyzing the hegemony's communications. It's not just a punitive expedition they're sending. They're throwing everything they have at us. If we defeat them here, then the hegemony falls," Reyes finished, understanding dawning in her eyes. "This isn't just about Earth anymore. This could reshape the entire galaxy." As the hegemony fleet entered the solar system, they found not a cowering primitive world, but a prepared and unified force ready to meet them. The battle that followed would be spoken of for millennia to come, a clash that would determine the fate not just of Earth, but of countless worlds across the galaxy. Humanity had come a long way from its first desperate stand against the alien invaders. Now, as they faced their greatest challenge yet, they did so not as a single isolated species, but as part of a greater galactic community. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear: Whatever the outcome, the universe would never be the same again. As the first shots of this new, greater conflict were fired, Earth stood ready, no longer just a small blue planet on the edge of an unremarkable galaxy, but a beacon of hope, unity, and defiance against tyranny. The next chapter in humanity's cosmic journey was about to begin.